Are you an overthinker, or do you think you're an overthinker? Well, today we're going to talk about Soundtracks by Jon Acuff. Yes, I've got some notes here that I made on the book. That way I can bring you my thoughts more clearly. As I've already said, the book is called Soundtracks, and the subtitle is The Surprising Solutions to Overthinking. So the idea behind this book is rewiring negative overthinking patterns into positive, productive mental soundtracks, which is where the title comes from. The main thought here is that your thoughts are like a playlist, and you play them over and over and over again. And you need to choose tracks that serve you rather than tracks that sabotage you. And we all do this. We get these negative thoughts and we let them negatively impact us and our decisions and what we do. So we need to replace broken soundtracks, as Jon calls it. In the book, Jon gives you this framework, which is retire, replace, repeat. And it's easy to remember and easy to apply. In typical Jon format, he writes in his quirky, funny, humorous way of writing. Jon does give real life examples in his book. He always gives real life stories and clear examples and clear strategies that you can follow, and exercises that will help you create empowering affirmations. Jon in this book encourages you to take control of your thoughts and align those thoughts with your goals. That is part of the replace your broken soundtracks with positive soundtracks that serve you well. Make sure they serve your goal. So he says, overthinking isn't the problem. The type of thoughts you dwell on is what matters. And that's a key distinction. Sometimes we think it's overthinking when it's really just us being held back by the types of thoughts that we're thinking about. Your soundtracks do shape your behavior. Repeated thoughts influence decisions and ultimately your results. Repetition builds momentum. He says that these affirmations daily turns them into beliefs. So by constantly repeating the positive soundtracks, by constantly repeating what is right, will help you move forward. And then Jon says to be kind to yourself. We so often speak negatively to ourselves in ways that we wouldn't speak to others. So be kind to yourself. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you care about. And why shouldn't we care about ourselves? Yes, we should care about others, but speaking to ourselves with kindness is equally as important. Some highlights in this book: he has a practical tip to flip the script on unhelpful thoughts by asking, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? We used this same exact line with our kids as they were little kids, teaching them to be nice to others. Is it helpful? Is it kind? Is it true? He says it in a different order. He says true, helpful, kind, but it's the same words. And that was almost like a light bulb moment. If we were teaching our kids to say things that were kind, helpful, and true, why wouldn't we teach ourselves to speak to ourselves with our internal thoughts as kind, helpful, and true thoughts, and discard the ones that are not kind, helpful, or true? The soundtrack of success is repeating simple, empowering phrases that create confidence. When we lack confidence, we need to create confidence boosters for us to help us have more confidence. And then he has stories of people who transform their careers and relationships by changing their mental narrative. And these stories are so helpful to encourage us to move forward and to follow the advice he gives us in the book. As with all of Jon's writing, it can be repetitive. Sometimes he kind of repeats himself, and I think that's part of the teacher in Jon, where he repeats things a few times. It's not annoying the way he repeats it, but there are some repetitive pieces throughout the book. The book focuses heavily on application, so if you're looking for a psychological read, this is not it. This is more of a practical application book, one for the common person. Now, who should read this book? Really, I think everyone should read this book. But if we want to dig down deeper on that, because we don't want to accept the fact that everybody should read, and everybody should read this book, and everybody should learn from this book, let's dig down. Anyone who is struggling with overthinking or self-doubt would hugely benefit from this book. Entrepreneurs, students, professionals would all benefit from this book because it will help them with productivity. And of course, fans of Jon Acuff should read this book, and people who like books with practical, actionable steps that you can take. Overall, this book is a fantastic book. Hey, look at that, the jacket's sliding off. This book is a fantastic book that will really help everyone who reads it become more successful, move forward, and help their mental well-being by learning ways to create positive thoughts, positive soundtracks, and discarding the broken soundtracks in their life.